Hello and welcome to this special report here at XM.com. I'm Maria Pachardis, and joining me is investment analyst Christina Parthenidou. We'll be discussing the political and economic situation in the UK and the outlook for the British pound. So Christina, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was forced to resign last week after many of his cabinet members resigned in response to a series of scandals under his leadership. What does this mean for the British economy at this period of the year?
Hi, Maria. Well, we can say that the British economy is facing several short-term challenges at the moment, and it got another one last week, although Boris Johnson's resignation was taken initially as a widespread sense of relief from the lack of integrity that his premiership was characterized. The period before the UK Prime Minister resigned also reminded the return to 1970s. A crowd of workers from transport and airline workers and teachers had been demonstrating against Boris Johnson's government because of the real economic challenges they keep facing on a daily basis. So on the one hand, his resignation has signaled that the next Prime Minister could be a new opportunity to fix the political and economic chaos. On the other hand, however, I think that this might be only a temporary relief, and the hard work still needs to be done to achieve economic and political stability, which may not happen in the foreseeable future, or at least take longer than expected. Inflation is a top priority now, and the candidates who are racing to replace Boris Johnson will likely use tax breaks proposals to gain votes. The problem here is that the economy doesn't need more liquidity. There is already too much liquidity from the stimulus the government and the central bank have provided during the pandemic period. Or in other words, in economic terms, demand is not a problem, but the lack of supply of goods and services is what is mainly feeding inflation at the moment. So tax cuts will not have a long-lasting effect against inflation. Nevertheless, the candidates will still use tax strategy and specifically try to push back Sunak's corporate tax increase to 25% for April 2023. He's currently considered the most popular candidate given his experience with the pandemic and the energy crisis. But he's also involved in some COVID and finance scandals which may affect his performance during the race and probably raise the odds for other candidates. Nevertheless, whoever becomes the new prime minister, he or she will first have to achieve unity within the party, which is currently looking divided. And if that persists, then the political drama may continue in Parliament because there are several political battles left open from Boris Johnson. Brexit is clearly one of them. The UK hasn't gained much growth from Brexit. Actually, and according to some studies, the UK economy is smaller by around 5% than if it had stayed in the European Union. The post-Brexit trade agreement is not working either well. Trade relations with the EU have become worse, and even trade agreements with other key economies such as the US haven't been successfully accomplished yet. So although the new Prime Minister will not reverse Brexit, he will have to choose between extending Boris Johnson's current proposal, which may further bring problems with the European Union, or choose an alternative method to push for a more European-friendly solution. And we shouldn't forget that the Ukrainian war, which will probably be another task for the new leader. So overall, the foreseeable future for the UK economy may remain discouraging for now.
Turning to FX markets now, the British pound did not react negatively to the political drama. Instead, it managed to recoup some of its losses. Why did this happen, and how might it perform from here onwards?
Indeed, the British pound edged higher against the US dollar after Johnson's resignation, but as we mentioned before, that is because political uncertainty from Boris Johnson's got a bit smaller, though probably not for long. And today we see the pair returning its gains back, reversing its gains actually. Investors are worried about a sharp economic downfall in the year, especially as the Bank of England is largely expected to deliver additional rate increases in the coming months. Perhaps if the new Prime Minister boosts spending, the central bank will be alone in the battle against inflation, meaning more sharper rate increases, which could help the pound to recover. Unless recession fears get worse in this case, despite a potential stimulative fiscal policy, Otherwise, if the government postpones any rate cuts despite candidates' promises and decides to sacrifice some growth to battle inflation, with the central bank choosing a softer tightening monetary policy as well to avoid a hard landing, that could generate more losses for the pound. Meanwhile, this week monthly GDP growth figures will be closely watched. Those could give us an update on the current economic conditions, with the yearly and 3-month average measures likely to slow for another month. While a sharper slowdown could weigh on the British pound, questioning whether the central bank will indeed deliver a 50 basis point rate hike in August. But on the other hand, the central bank expects a double-digit inflation in autumn, so it might again prioritize inflation over economic growth and more likely move forward with its rate hike cycle.
Christina, thanks so much. And thanks for joining us at XM.com.